Hello, friends, and welcome to another Monday night at Heroes and Hooligans, where we are playing Dungeons and Dragons in the world of Atharis, set in the Grim Hollow campaign with a little bit of extra shenanigans and stuff and things. What were you going to say, Tier? I heard you saying something.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was literally just saying it's always the same dude under the branch that all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what? Oh God, there's a face there. Even when I'm expecting it. I love it. That's why I love creepy things.
I like the intro. That's one of my favorite intros to a show I've ever put together. It's one of my faves. But speaking of show and shit, who's doing recap for last week?
I did last time.
You did. So you're not doing it this time.
Unless, I mean, I could store up more chaos coins. I'm at 3 right now.
No, you don't store them. They reset each game.
No!
Brill can certainly do it if Hardock or Storic don't want to. Brill has feelings.
Says nose goes.
Monsto.
Either Brill or Harnock, doesn't matter.
Brill has very strong feelings about last session.
Yeah, so why don't you give the recap? Because I want to hear your strong feelings.
So we finished our journey back to the ocean out of the Dark Oak Grove. We had gotten the Crone Stone. And as we stood there, Brill and Harnock realized that the landscape was different. There was no shack. There was no fisher boy on the pier. Just this little ramshackle pier dock type situation with no signs of any inhabitants or anything here. But both of them had quite a bit going on. We discussed with the group a little bit about where we were going and why we were here. And our plans, and they all basically said they'd stay with us because it's a new world and we know each other and not much else, so why not continue on? There was some discussion of how we originally ended up there that Brill explained. We did a job, some elves got involved and asked us to come do this job, and so here we are. And that was the first thing that they wanted to deal with when they got back to Toll the Mill. So Brill and Harnock led them back to the Elvish Council chambers. Up the stairs just to find out we had to go up a different set of stairs. So we went back down and went over and up those stairs. They came, we gave them the Crone Stone. They disappeared for a little while and came back. They gave us some cool magic items that we did not discuss.
Hey.
We had one job, guys.
One job.
Brill, out of curiosity, because she had mentioned that she didn't know who had hired her originally to do the job bearing the what was found to be necromantic elf bones, and the elves told her that it was them. So yeah, this particular council of elves are kind of scum, but hey, things happen, and at least we're done with them for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then Brill and Harnock took the others to meet someone else that they had met previously, Selenar, because we had a lot of gems. There was some trading going on. Our druid got a pretty nifty gemmed, I believe, chest plate. Sir Storic got some a very, very nice emerald, I believe, in his sword. I do believe our dwarf friend got a topaz in his armor, making him harder to hit.
Something like that, yeah. Each of you got something done, I believe.
Brill got a nifty bow, and Tina got something. I don't remember what.
How are you gonna forget a lady's boots?
Yes, it was boots, fancy boots.
Well, actually, they were originally for Sir Storic, but he got a kiss out of it, so I think we're
were
okay.
Were they amethyst boots?
Yep.
Yeah, amethyst. Yep.
Yep.
It matches her skin and her eyes.
And that was most of it. We went and got some braziers so that Storic and Tina could do their rituals later. and I believe there might have been some other random magic components. And we bought a whole bunch of food. We discussed our journey and decided we're gonna take boat north for most of the way, probably along the ocean. And then we're going to move inland over to Runheim, and then we'll journey back south later on by foot, sightseeing, stopping by some areas on the way. But so we got, I have it written down somewhere.
You got a bunch.
Yeah. We got 2 barrels of dried fish, 1 barrel of dried venison, a bag of hardtack bread, a barrel of dried fruit, a barrel of potatoes, 4 barrels of water, a barrel of ale, and 1 spare barrel. All for going on the Swan Barge so that we can make our way north.
Yep, you did get a lot of stuff, a lot of rations and provisions and things.
I actually now wish I had the floating disc spell, because this
Tensor's floating disc.
Yep, that would help unloading and reloading the boat so much better.
I do believe we ended with us getting random. We got very nice rooms at an inn so that we could have a bath before we leave in the morning.
Yep.
So I believe that was where we ended, was not long resting, short resting that night.
Yep, having a short. What's on your sheet is short rest, but at least a good hearty sleep.
Yep.
Yeah, so while you're sleeping in the middle of the night, you hear a knock at your window, the windows burst open, and elves come in.
They will die.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No elves are bursting in there. You get a full night's sleep. You picked up a few things, pretty much just traveling provisions and stuff. You got all of that. You got a room and some food for the night, all of that stuff. So you're able to sleep, take your short rest, and wake up at a decent time in the morning, have breakfast. It's not a very over the top breakfast, but it's no breakfast bar, but it's like a full English, you get all that good, delicious stuff. And then get your baths and all of that. And probably by about, depending on how early you have decided to get up, I'll say if you got up really early, probably about 7 o'clock, you're ready to start packing your ship. But if it's a little later than that, sometime between 7 and 9 in the morning, depending on how early you wanted to get up. It would be before you got out to start packing up your ship. So I'll leave you there. That's where we'll start. After breakfast, when you're getting ready to pack up.
So now it's time for second breakfast.
If you're a half, yes.
In the morning, bro, when you wake up, Tina is already gone. Huli, immediately when Tina wakes up, which is she's gonna wake up from a half slumber, and all of a sudden just with a big ass light bulb over her head, shining, oh my goodness, I need to go somewhere, and immediately take off with one of her books to re-explore the elf town and find out if they have a teleport circle here, and to get the proper rune configuration for it. I'm sorry, word mark configuration for it.
Sure. You took the spell then, yeah?
I won't be until 5th level, but I can take down the
location now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way we don't have to travel a month to come back here. I can go teleport circle.
Okay. So yeah, I'll say they don't really have a mage's tower here, since it's the last free magic city in all of Atharis. But there may be a temple-like place, and in the front area of the temple, kind of like the gardens and all that fancy shit that they put out in front of religious buildings, there will be a teleport circle off to the side. And as far as the word marks that you will need,
If you want to get it to me in the future, you can. We can. At this point, I'm taking note of it.
You're hunting them down, but I'm going to give them to you now so I don't forget about it.
Perfect.
Okay, you have the same rune reference sheets that I do, the same word mark reference sheets that I do.
Yep.
You will need AWAS and
Can you spell that one for me real quick? I don't have them up.
EYWAS. It's like a zigzag, kind of like a straight up lightning bolt, right? So you'll need that one. You will need also Lagu, which you know that one. That's the one for lake. Looks like a half T.
Can you spell that one too?
LAGU.
LAGU. I just want to make sure that I have them written down because I'm just copying it into my character sheet right now.
Yeah.
Iwas, Lagu.
And Othala. OTHALA.
Any number configuration with those, like 3 Iwas, 2 Lagu, 5 Othla, or just those 3?
Just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
There. That should be good.
Perfect.
Let me make a note of that my own self.
For in role play one, when she gets there, she just kind of like she takes one of the back pages of one of her spare books and writes the word marks in the correct configuration in the circle, following Iwas, Lagu, Othla, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with the any other little extra things that they have, like if there's quotations or any of those, taking the time, probably like a good 15-20 minutes to get it down nice and proper. And after that, she'll head back because it's time for second breakfast.
Wow, I cannot even. Okay, I added that into my side notes so that way if in the future I will remember, because if I didn't write it down, I would never remember that you asked me that. Perfect. There you go.
Perfect.
So
hey,
those are the marks.
Wizard players, you love them and you hate them.
Second one the most, yeah. All right, so you do that, and that probably takes you, let's see, everybody else is probably waking up at what, 5 o'clock, you'd say? Think that's about a good time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what time I'm going to say. So everybody else is probably getting up about 5. That means you probably got up about 4:30-ish, about a half an hour before, and took off. And that extra half an hour would get you up there and back by the time everybody's pretty much getting out of the showers and all of that and finished with breakfast. So you'll probably come in at the tail end of breakfast while everybody else is eating and all of that.
Yeah.
So breakfast.
Breakfast.
And then your ship.
Yeah. Brill at breakfast is basically handing out everyone's like winter clothes that we have gotten either in the first purchase or yesterday. And it's kind of, making sure everyone has their stuff and we're ready to go.
Yeah, double checking your gear, making sure everybody has everything you'll need for a trip north. All of that. And your barrels are waiting at the docks for you, so you didn't have to take them back to the inn. they kept them down there. Because I assume you said you were they'll ask you when you were leaving and for how long, which is how you ended up with everything that you did, and they would hold it until you load your stuff in the morning.
That's good. We don't have a lot of strength to go around to move these giant barrels.
No, but you can toss a couple gold to some dock workers, or a gold or two to a handful of dock workers. They'd help if you asked.
Yeah, we'll just have to hope we find a dock within the next 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, I can transform into something big enough to probably move it.
And I mean, we'll eat through some of it.
Yeah.
You can carry what, Sir
I
Story?
can carry 150 pounds of barrel. I can carry an extra 150 pounds of gear on my back. Still be in my
so that'll be good for lifting the barrels. I didn't look up the exact weight of how much those things weigh, but I would assume probably like 50 pounds. It'd probably be like tossing a 50-pound, barrel
Something
around.
like that, probably.
Yeah, between 50 to 100, depending. And with 2 people on it, I assume that you could pick them up and load them.
Yeah.
Nothing too big, but also nothing too small either. You're on a fairly long journey. Yeah.
Any other last minute purchases or excursions needed?
Harnack's good.
I think Stork's all good.
Val is deep writing through her book still, but yep, she's good.
All right, then.
We can head out.
Oh, and Tina will just kind of pipe in, looking at all of the things, and say, "I'll help as much as I can loading these things, but I am not at all a strong individual." She goes and she kind of does like a half flex, and if it wasn't for the fact that this is in a cartoon world, her arm would be drooping.
Stork gets the docks, and as soon as the boat's in the water, is just, all right, barrel under one arm, barrel under the other arm. All right, there we go. Next.
Well, yeah, I assume here they'll load them onto the boat when we get there and make the boat.
Yeah, they will if you ask. Somebody will. I mean, there's dock workers there. Unless you want to do it yourself, which they're going to let you do it yourself because that's less shit they got to do because it's a port city. They've got boats coming in and out all day long of all different shapes and sizes. So,
yeah,
if you load it yourself, you do. If you don't, then you don't. However you want to go about it. If Sir Stork's already started, you could still ask for help. Probably cheaper that way.
I mean, yeah, we can probably get help because I don't know that any of us are going to be much help other than you, Stork, and I would feel bad just having you load all of them.
Yeah, dock worker grunts and assist Stork. You've got what, 6 or how many barrels do you got? 10 total, something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, so Stork can do what, 2 at a time. So yeah, it takes you about a half an hour between Stork and 2 dock workers, and they just tell you, pay them a silver each, and they're satisfied.
Sure. Oh, I do have silver. Cool. We'll give them each 2 silver.
Okay, good. So they'll pocket it.
Tip them well.
Yeah, get you loaded up, and you're loaded. You've got all your stuff on and all your supplies, and your swan is pointed in the out direction. So whenever everybody gets on, you're good to go.
By the way, just as a warning to you guys, we're probably gonna end up coming into Burok up here, based on the course we've kind of decided on. And they tend to be a little tighter on magic stuff from what I've heard. So might want to, mum's the word on all the magic mumbo jumbo as much as possible.
Is the Great Beast still running around?
the great beast? I could not say.
Which
I'm
great
just gonna
beast?
as soon as Storic hears we're going into Beer Rock and we don't know if the great beast is running around. He's back on the dock grabbing dock workers. Does the beast still run in Beer Rock?
Let's look and see. You're wanting to know of the great beast. You're talking about the corrupting power that runs through the land, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to ask a dock worker about it?
Yeah, I'm just grabbing the first person I see. And I mean, it's like, it is full, like, panicked grab.
Roll me a persuasion.
I'm going to give myself disadvantage on this if that's all right, because he's,
That's fine,
as I
that's
said,
fine.
freaking the fuck out. Still 13?
Still a 13? Yep.
I don't add anything to that, so I was a little worried.
So I'll say with the 13 that most of the dock workers, when you ask them, like they kind of shrug you off and they're like, what are you talking about? Go, like, they don't want to answer you, right? They're just like, go away, sort of shrug you off. Until you come across an older human man, which most of the dock workers are elven. You come across an older human man. He's kind of hunched over from years of laboring. His hands and skin are very weathered. He's got some scraggly long beard that's kind of braided with little pieces sticking out. And he does tell you that the beast does still roam, and to the chagrin of the 4 provinces, they have not been able to succeed in facing the beast and living to tell the tale. And where it goes, monsters arise. And the way he says it to you, it sounds like a superstitious old man, the way he explains it.
Story. This is an older human guy, you said?
Yeah, like an older human gentleman who's kind of hunched over from years and years of labor, looks kind of haggard and weathered. Fits the definition of an old suspicious sailor profile.
All right. Storic's gonna press 5 silver pieces into his hand. You said self-direct. I needed to know. Thank you.
And he just says, "May the seas be on your side.
May the winds be at your back.
And for the dreams and the stars that listen and all that fancy stuff." But yeah, he just tells you that the beast, essentially the beast still roams, yes.
Yeah, Storic gets back to the ship and he's noticeably more downcast and has like a grim look on his face. We sail into danger, friends. Be well aware and well armed.
as you walk up, Brill is like tapping her foot, frustrated that like we had gotten here and then you just walked off down the dock. Did you find out about your beast?
Yes, it roams all 4 provinces, still spawning monsters in its wake.
Okay, what should we look out for? What kind of a beast is it?
Great. That is all that is known.
A great beast, got you.
Okay, we'll keep an
Men
eye
have seen
out for
Men
it.
have seen it and lived to tell a tale.
So then how do we know it exists? Like, who
Because of
told
the
you it
monster
still
that lives in
roams
its
if no
wake.
one's seen it?
The old man down the road.
Yeah, that seems trustworthy.
I mean, the Inquisition is where I learned it existed in the first place. But
And
to hear it still exists, it is
Were
a
you saying
great
something, Val?
I started to, but then I realized if I said that I may or may not be speaking too much out of a little bit more from out of character knowledge. I cannot confirm nor deny whether or not Tina knows if the empire that dreamers originate from are considered myths to most. Hence, never mind.
Fair.
Sure, unless anyone else wants to go chase down other campfire stories. Can we set off then?
Well,
Bill, you are
I'm all
Bill, you
I'm all
are
good
a
and
vampire
ready.
story, you half ghost beast.
I'm more than ready, but the fun thing about the crazy reality that we live in is never expect you know it all. Always expect the worst, so all that can you get is surprises, and you can never be disappointed. If you
We
assume
have to
this is
discuss
some
this
myth,
more
you may be disappointed when we find out that it is true. But you do bring up a
than it
good
was
point.
to eat us.
The raving men that stand aboard docks may not be the most trustworthy. So, and at this point, Tina just kind of looks to one of the other dock workers that are kind of like starting to get them up, and kind of like half puts a hand on the barrel to act like she's helping.
We can discuss this more once we're underway, I'm sure. But everyone here is something from a campfire story. You're half ghost. I'm an inquisitor from 100 years ago who wields their own magic. Harnock. Honestly, Harnock, you might be the most normal one here.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not.
It's certainly not a hard bar to beat.
it's definitely not. That's the line of the campaign. Everybody here is a campfire story at one point or another. That's definitely the line of the campaign. Everybody
Tina-
here is a campfire story.
New team named
Tina-
Campfire Crew.
Tina at the sound of all that just kind of turns around and with her finger like draws out the word mark for fire in the air to basically say, "Ooh, that sounds like that burned."
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I literally said this yesterday or a few days ago, that weird stuff happens in Atharis. Anything's possible. I just don't know how we're supposed to keep an eye out for a great beast that no one has ever seen or has any kind of a description of.
I'd be more worried about the monsters it spawns, honestly.
Any info about those monsters? There's no one lived to tell the tale of them too.
Can I make a history check to see what I know about the monsters from 100 years ago?
You
If I can, I'll offer assistance since I'm also 100 years ago.
Yeah, you can make a history check to see how well you recall the lore, And once you get the ship underway, I will give you Sir Storik's perspective on the lore of the beast during your travel.
Sounds good to me. Hey, that's a nat 19 for a 25.
Perfect. Yeah. So once you're going, I'll give you the information. So that way I can just read you this whole chunk of lore I have.
Yeah.
But it's a definite good number to have. The number that you rolled, perspective, like your history check to see how much you remember, because that 25 is going to give you my whole block of lore rather than just a tiny bit and piece of it. So kudos. So you're loaded. You got everything loaded. Brill doesn't care about your campfire stories, but at least you got your question answered, Torek.
Yeah.
And you're able to get on your ship.
All right. As we get
Story
underway,
tells us this as the sun
Sork
goes
starts
down and we light one of the braziers with fire. The ship just moves us along in the night.
Really don't even need to. All I need to do is take out the arcane lantern and light the flame into one of the many colors.
Well, and as we start sailing before the sun goes down, Stork's like singing a bunch of half-remembered sailing songs from 100 years ago. He only knows like a quarter of the words and half the tune. But he's like, there was a ship named the Something Lass. After a girl with a quite... What was the next line? Brill, you might know this one. Do you remember it?
Brill does not.
You didn't do much sailing, huh?
No, I preferred horseback.
Never could get the damn things to listen to me.
But I am interested in any more stories or tales. I just prefer a little more information than danger ahead.
Hot stuff coming your way.
Tales are
Strong
best told by
gusts
fire.
ahead.
I think tales such as these are best told by firelight. And before the sun goes down as well, I'll light my brazier and perform the ritual for Fine Familiar too.
Since if everyone's doing it, Tina may think to do it too.
So for the beginning of the trip, Harnack's gonna be a little distracted, kind of just peering out, kind of lost in thought. But as soon as the story starts, he's gonna be a little more attentive than normal.
So is this how we're going to spend? Brill, how long do we have to sail?
Well, it's probably a good 10 or 12 days if we get lucky and make it all the way north, but I think we're probably going to want to cut through the Burok Empire. We could probably... How much of the map am I familiar with? Like, as far as Brill planning this trip, how much?
You have the whole map of Atharis. So
Okay.
you have like the same whole big map that I have. So you would have that map when charting and plotting.
Okay, because yeah, technically this first day we're actually sailing down the river out to the ocean.
Yeah.
So we're still going down the river, and then I take a guess that if we wanted, probably about 2 days after we reach the ocean, sometime tonight or early tomorrow, we could stop off. I think there's a town called Lysick down there. And then there should be some other rivers a little ways north of Lysick that we could take further into the heart of the empire and then head north from there rather than trying to maneuver the ocean.
And where we're coming from is Toll Levamil, right? Leamil, I'm sorry.
Pull the mill.
Yeah, would that be a fair estimate? About 3 days, we would probably be about docking in Lysick.
Yep, pretty close to 3 days. Yep.
And then maybe another 3 days to get to and part way up the river. Maybe in 10 days we might be able to make it all the way to Lake OC. I can't zoom in close enough on this picture.
It's OC, yep.
Okay. Yeah. Which once we're there will be other rivers we can take, it looks like, according to this map. So 3 days to dock, maybe, and then another 3 days until we're back on rivers heading inland.
Copy. Okay. Well,
All right.
and I feel
as the go ahead.
I was gonna say if we're all in the right mind, I guess might be a good time for everyone to share a little bit of a story, eh?
Wouldn't be bad. Certainly a way to pass the nights. The boat does most of the work, but I kind of go around, try to make sure nothing crazy is going on.
Please take the lead, Valentina.
Oh, I and you kind of like you can like her cheek kind of or her cheeks kind of grow a little bit of a more darker purple. The picture that I sent in the chat while we're on the boat and while we're still in Tola Mill, so as we're leaving, that's how she is. But otherwise, when we get to land, dock, or are going towards the towns, that's where she'll hide her hair and put on her. I found the right proper name for what she wears. Her Sakura mask. Yeah, no, funny. And so she goes a little bit more flushed, and then she's like, "I didn't mean to volunteer myself right away, but if I'm not quite ready with one right now."
Oh, come on, Storic. I think we all want to hear what you know about this beast for tonight.
Yes, thank you, bro. She just kind of goes over, clasps Brill on the chest, and just kind of turns around. She's like, "Ooh, close."
Certainly. And as I'm telling this story, I'm going to be casting prestidigitation to shape fire and smoke and shadows coming from the brazier in front of me. In the beginning, there was life, there were gods, and there was good. Then, many years ago, the gods found each other wanting and fought, disrupting the lands of Iraq. One found herself again and protected the lands with her sacrifice. Though the three remaining slew each other, causing great death. With the absence of these gods, shadows rose to stalk the lands of the Empire. No one knows what it is, no one knows how it came to be, but a presence has made itself felt throughout the lands of all four provinces. There are some who claim they've seen it, for none can trust its ways, describing it as wreathed in shadow, with a head of an elk's skull bearing a crown of antlers that pierces the clouds themselves. It is said that even from a distance, it corrupts all which its spirit touches and whispers into the hearts of men, turning them to wickedness. At this point, the smoke begins to fill the air above the boat, making it hard to see through. This corruption spreads like fire, with aberrations and abominations appearing in all four realms of the Empire, and discord seeping through society. In Abendland, the beasts are said to be like the undead, their flesh fusing together. In Rowland, creatures like living, walking puppets strangle the innocent with their razor-sharp strings. In the Northern Land, plants and creatures gain a terrifying sentiency, with human heads and limbs in place of arms and branches. And finally, in the South and Underland, corrupted warriors, with armor becoming flesh, roam the countryside and kill any they see. This beast has been a great source of agony and fear, until the Empire does not wish to admit to the folly of their fallen gods. The Inquisition knows that it is their fault. So yes, many kinds of monsters to watch out for.
Sure, but if we see the monsters, it means the beast is already gone, right?
Sometimes it's unclear. Means the beast has already been there. Doesn't necessarily mean it's left.
That's fair. Ugh.
In fact, what's that? What's that behind you? And my new familiar is going to fly into the back of Brill's head, so he's got a raven flapping around, or she's got a raven.
I was going to say, yeah, Brill's going to like jump and turn behind her.
Yeah, you've got a raven flapping around in your hair.
Probably like lets out a shriek and starts batting at it, not able to see what it is.
Stork, come. The raven's going to come and alight on his hand. It is so good to see you again, my friend.
That's what you get for calling his stories. That's what you get.
Yeah, I mean, Brill probably does look irritated, especially once like you call Raven back.
This is Austin. This is Brill, Valentina, Anna. More than just looking around, that's a little spot.
Yes, well.
Does anyone else have a story to tell over the fire?
I'll think of one, but I think that's enough story, at least for me tonight. I'm gonna go turn in. And bro will like go off to a section of the barge because it's not like there's a below decks or anything.
It's the awkward walking the same way after saying goodbye.
Walks like
the
10 feet.
Walking like 5
down.
feet. Brill, do you need a cot? I've got one rolled up in my bag.
I'll be all right. I'm starting to get used to this whole water thing. The rocking kind of lulls me to sleep.
He just kind of watches Brill lay down on the on the barge. Is like, that makes sense, and kind of walks over to another corner and kind of pipes in and says, "If anyone would like protection from the possible rain that we may end up getting, or would like a little warmth, come on over. Because once I make this, you can't come in, but you can leave." And she'll start drawing a circle on in the on the front part of the barge and ritually cast Lehman's tiny hut.
Harnack's going to use Druidcraft to create a sensory effect that predicts the weather for the next 24 hours.
It's gonna rain. They're gonna be rain. That's a good idea.
It's not gonna rain. We don't need this hut.
Good job, Harnack. You don't have any rain for the first 24 hours of your trip, so you're good.
Harnack will look over and say, "I think I will be okay."
Tina just look.
Storks immediately. Stork sees Brill lay down and immediately looks around the barge like, "There's nothing for me to stand against. What am I going to do?
You could just stand
Sleep
in my hut.
laying down?
You could just stand in my hut, right in the middle. Acts like you're the pillar of it."
Yes. Wonderful idea, Valentina.
And Tina stops drawing the circle for a split second to let him step in before a purple dome just kind of covers them, and it's
cozy.
it's warm, like being on a tropical island when the sun's out, the clouds covering it, and the light drizzling rain just kind of slightly giving it a nice little soft, moist heat, not a super humid I'm dying heat.
Yeah, Stork closes their eyes, hands at their sides, out in seconds.
Tina, as soon as he goes out, just kind of like smiles and is like, "Well, now that you're the one that's standing here, now I get something to lean back against." And just waits like a good 20 minutes before kind of setting up her thing, and is just kind of leaning up against their Stork side, using him as a lean. She prefers sleeping somewhat up like that. If there's anyone here who knows what it feels like to just stand there as a statue for a long time, it's the dreamer.
Harnack's just going to fold his winter blanket up a couple times and make it a pillow and lay down.
Didn't you buy sleeping mats?
Stork doesn't use
I
them.
was
He
like,
offered his to Brill.
I assumed Brill put her bedroll down or something.
Yeah,
Really?
right. Like you get that canvas to hang over top to keep rain and stuff out. And then you did buy some sleeping mats and extra blankets so that you could make pallets. But Stork sleeps standing up. He's a rock with legs.
I was also going to throw out there, Don's, Brill's player, just this last weekend was sleeping on the ground while we were camping. Mind you, on a sleeping bag, but...
I assume a bedroll is a sleeping bag.
Pretty much.
It's a little thicker. So a bedroll usually has a piece of foam, or I guess in this time it'd be woven padding in the bottom that's specifically to protect you from anything hard on the ground.
Right.
Doesn't usually come with anything to cover yourself.
Yeah, but you guys bought blankets and mats. Pretty much kinder mats you bought at the in the city. So you get on, you get set sail. It's early in the day when you set sail, and so you get out and you get out on the water, and evening rolls around. You probably eat some shit, and you tell your stories, and then you go to sleep. It doesn't rain or anything overnight. It's for the next 24 hours, like your druid wanted to know. It's pretty decent weather. The waves get kind of choppy in some places, but that's just the natural wave pattern. And you're good. You're smooth sailing for the first 24 hours.
Alright.
Tina, I'm going to ask you this now because I'm sure you're already doing it, but are you dreamwalking?
So, since we were, I thought we were going to start at the end of the night. So I did have one planned from the original part. So in game, I'm gonna say that she hasn't been yet. But there are two things. Number one, Tina did technically dreamwalk Storic way back when we were at
That's right.
First, yeah.
Gophers. So if we want to go over that one for sure, like yes.
Yeah, I think you missed the.
We did go over that, I thought.
Oh no, you're right. We did. I asked, and then you were able to explain. And then you're right. We did.
Okay. Yep. So you did then. All right, great.
Yeah, actually, taking notes on the fact that he's been kind of as distant as she has been, she is definitely going to dreamwalk Harnock.
Okay. All right, Harnock. You're getting dreamwalk.
Oh no!
Oh no, you're the one who hit me up excited about this.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to this. I had it all planned out. Had a lot of time at work.
Yep.
I'm staring at the plan, so hatch it.
So you're gonna enter into Harnock's dream, but this time instead of it being a like kind of tranquil field like it was last time, it's going to be kind of ravaged. There's gonna be kind of scorch marks all over the ground. You're gonna see trees on fire in the distance. Right where you appear, Harnock's gonna be in the middle. There's gonna be some kind of burnt feathers at his feet. He's gonna be panting. You can definitely tell that he's either been excessively pushing himself out of anger. And once he kind of realizes you're there, he's gonna whip around extremely fast, and you're gonna hear a thunder crack in the sky. And you're going to feel the electricity start to kind of raise the hairs on your body as he looks, and you can start to feel it. And then all of a sudden you see him kind of stop. It all stops, and he lowers his hand, kind of shakes his head. You can tell he's very not in it right now. He's like, you can't just enter at any time like this.
As the lightning almost kind of you actually kind of see her like leaning back, looking up directly at it. A look of worry on her face for a moment before she just kind of. That's the unfortunate part. I can, but you're right. I probably should be a bit more forward on it. Do accept my humblest apologies, but I meant to talk to you days ago. It's not without. I'm disturbed over our encounter with Christopher Robin. But despite everything that I know I am, I can only surmise that there's something more going on in your head than mine.
As you mentioned that, he'll kind of relax. Yes, meeting those kind of entities are taxing, to say the least.
Taxing is one word to put it. My first encounter with them led to losing a lot. And, she actually stalls when she says losing a lot. Like, she kind of half says it, stops, and then says it full again, reassuring herself. And I'm still piecing all of those parts back together. What did you say to him when you spoke in the language of, I can only assume, Celestials, because it did not sound as raw as Primordial? What did you say to him?
So at that, you'll see Harnack tense again. I told him he would not live very much longer.
Do you know what he said? When he
No.
spoke in that guttural Underdark?
I do not speak the language of that thing.
Hooli, I made an error in my notes. I actually forgot to write it down.
He said, "What is dead may never die."
And Tina will kind of just look down and put her arms behind her back, like if she was crossing her arms at her front, but behind her. And she will repeat what Christopher Robin said first in Abyssal, before kind of looking him straight in the face with a completely squared face, tightening up the stones. What is already dead can't truly die. I'm sorry, as Hooli said it, and I totally butchered it, yes.
What is dead may never die.
There we go.
So as you say that you know what he said, and then you speak Abyssal, now Harnack in his kind of plague Dasher mask will look kind of head tilted at you, kind of like almost like a raven, kind of being interested now. You seem to know a lot more than I would expect.
Well, perhaps this will answer any questions you may have. And she walks up closer to Harnack, getting within a couple feet of him, and will say, "So I've never tried this, so for all we know, all I'm doing is poking you in the forehead." And she's gonna reach out towards his mask and place her middle finger onto the mask. And Hooli, this is completely uncharted territory, so I have no idea. Tina is attempting to show him what she's been dreaming about since.
I'll say you're already in a dream, so you're able to pull Harnack. If he willingly chooses to go, that you're able to pull Harnack into your dream. I'll say that's a possibility thing. Plus, it's good roleplay, and I want to hear what happens. I'm invested in this story, damn it. Keep up with my soul for us. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So as you reach out, Harnack's going to tense again, and he's going to pull back for a second, and then he's going to finally kind of relax and let you put your finger on his forehead.
As she kind of like presses her index finger, she's gonna slide it off to the side until her thumb's in the place of it, so she literally has like your head in her hand for a moment. And the scorched land changes only slightly. Giant stone pillars that reach towards the towards a ceiling as if we were underground. The scorch marks erupt in flames and fire, a river of moving flame as flush as water, and with all of the entities that you would expect to see in the first layer. Creatures of bats flying and crying around. And Tina, in that moment, you can still feel her hand there, but Tina isn't standing there with you. Instead, what you see is someone kind of starting to appear with a large occult circle marked in many different, more corrupted drawings of word marks, so to speak. Thinking more, if a lot of these word marks are more natural or more Nordic, mortal, think like of the demonic side of how the word marks may read. And you can see a younger girl with her wrists and her ankles tethered to the circle, with just a kind of shining, glowing energy emanating from her chest. She's crying out in pain, and the glowing lights kind of starts to separate out, drawing until it's standing in a ball like above her, and then you can see a shadowy thing pulling itself from the shadows and grabbing hold of this ball before it dissipates. The voice rings out, and unfortunately, as you don't understand Abyssal, it's completely...
Harnack does understand Abyssal.
Oh, you do understand Abyssal?
Yes, he does not know Infernal.
Wasn't what didn't Christopher Robbins? No, the words were written in Abyssal on the ground. He spoke in Infernal. Okay, sorry. And you hear what kind of has been ringing in her head since then. Basically, the entity speaks out to the woman and explains the situation, that her power, her born magic is the catalyst, but her soul is only hers to give. Either she can submit to the ritual she allowed herself to be a part of, or have another chance to walk. And in the exasperated pain that seems to be that she just keeps screaming and crying out, finally at the end, almost a whimper, is a yes. And then all of the flames and all of that dissipate, stopping at her, and there she is standing at the mouth of a cave, and the look on her face is one of absolute emptiness, like looking at someone of that age, but they have the mind of a freshly birthed child. Like the look of bewilderment, wonderment, and complete not knowing what the hell is going on. And it's that she just kind of ends the dream walking on.
I want both of you to roll me a d10, and I have an undisclosed percentage of whether you are or are not gaining the benefits of a short rest on this emotionally taxing night of dreaming.
Fair enough. Sorry, Harnock, if I caused you to not have your rest.
I rolled a 10.
Stop trauma dumping on me.
I rolled an 8.
Rolled an 8. Okay, so lucky for you, you both rolled high enough, just barely, to get your benefits of a short rest because you're not getting a long rest. But I will say neither one of you are waking up on the right side of Sir Storik's leg this morning. Because I know one of you's leaning against Sir Storik, the other one, you're in your tree branch, so or whatever it is, your little hut.
Harnock grows a tree every time. he wants to
Screw
go
a
to-
tree.
Yeah, screw it on the boat, right? Anyways, you know what I'm saying. Your little druid's hut that you made or whatever. So both of
I
you
just put my
are
blanket on the ground.
all right. Well, your little damn blanket, whatever. I was. You said druidcraft. I forgot you were doing the weather instead of growing
Yeah.
sticks. Anyway, so you'll both wake up. You do get your benefits because you rolled high enough. But I will say both of you are living in the wake of your trauma for the next morning. So you're not your normal chipper, let's have coffee and talk to everybody attitudinal selves.
Mhm.
Roger.
Totally get it. Teeing in off that, Tina's like you said, not leaning against Storik anymore. She's since kind of rolled and curled into a ball as far against the Lehman's tiny hut without setting it off.
Right. Okay.
Like, and from where she placed it, I almost half imagined on this barge she could literally roll another 2 feet and end up in the water.
Pretty close. Yeah. Pretty close. Yeah. So you get your first night down, Brill and Sir Storik. You have a peaceful night's rest. So you get your short rest benefits. It's the next day. I'm assuming you probably wake up and you know you don't have really shit to do because your boat drives itself. So you're able to laze about or look around. I'm not sure if anybody has an eyeglass or anything to look around. If you do, you can. But
Don't think so.
that might be something to probably pick up
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
You travel the boat a lot.
I will say Brill does like daily calisthenics. I mean, she was a soldier of a different word, you know, so she does have her like wake up early, stretch,
Yeah, I think,
do some
uh,
like
so-
sword
I think
form
s-
type stuffs.
yeah, I think Storik wakes up a little after Brill since he went down a little after her. But if he wakes up and sees her going through like old like Inquisition sword forms, would you care for a partner?
Sure. It's been a while
He'll
since
just
I.
start going through sword forms. Yeah, he'll just start going through sword forms with you.
Okay. And she will follow, and I imagine you are probably much better at it than her. She was always much better with a bow than the sword forms. So she's probably like shaky, you know, not as like consistent or sure in her motions. They're choppier rather than fluid, probably.
Yeah, I think Storik, you can definitely tell Storik's instinct is to like try and help and correct, and then he's like, no, I don't know this person well enough to say, hey, I'm gonna tell you how to do your shit. So he keeps like half opening his mouth like he's about to say something, and then just going back to doing the forms with you.
Okay. And I mean, Brill's pretty good at reading people. Worst case, she always has her Inquisitor stare. So I think like as we're like wrapping up, you know, sheathing swords and whatever, she's just like, I can take criticism, you know. Like I know.
I'm sure you can, but it might not have been my place to offer it.
I know I put on
I
a pretty-
apologize for my harsh words.
I
I
don't.
apologize for my harsh words yesterday.
I don't think you have anything to apologize for. I think I put on a tough mask sometimes, and there are reasons for that and times for that, but that doesn't mean that I should close my eyes to what's out there. And if there's
Yes,
something
I
you ever
understand.
have to say that can help me improve, please tell me.
Your wrist is too weak for the entire throat kata. You need to keep your arm straight.
I'll
If
keep
you
that
have
in
any
mind.
criticism, give it to me. You're limp-wristed. Oh,
That's fair.
Stork says that, and then, as much as Stone can blush, blushes and runs to the other end of the boat. Like, fuck, I said that way too easily. I was like, he was like, I wanted the excuse to criticize someone.
And Brill is like, hand up, like, okay then, good talk. And then we'll apparently just turn around.
I will say that I know Brill is already practicing calisthenics every day, but if Stork is going to go through sword form with you while you're practicing, if you do that every day for 30 days, I will give you a +1 to your athletics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both of you will take a +1 to your athletics if you do it for 30 days.
Yeah, definitely.
But you have to keep track of it in your own notes. I'm not going to track it for you.
Right.
Fair enough.
I think that's good, right? Like practicing something is
Yeah.
you're going to get actual benefit out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
If you would do that, we can talk about the long run benefits of continuing to do it. Maybe an up strength score or an up
Right.
dexterity score, something along those lines. But I think that's good. A good offer, right? If you're going to take the time to practice something, you might as well reap some sort of benefit. All right, so you got your first day down. You're into your second day. I'm going to assume you just do your rations and things. However, unless you do want to cook, you did bring an extra barrel for reconstituting and removing some of the salt. Arnok, are you druid crafting day 2 to predict the weather for the next day?
Yes.
Okay. So on your second day, you're probably about halfway to Lysec-ish. You've passed some of the mountain range there. The Rock Teeth Mountains, you can see them on the coast in the distance. And you're feeling around, you're reaching out to the nature around you to see what the weather's going to be like. And the closer you grow to Lysec, you feel like the weather's going to be fine, but there's just something about the nature that you're communing with that feels off.
So the closer we get to Lysec?
Yeah.
Okay. So Harnok's gonna kind of make a comment to... He's actually gonna walk over to Valentina and make the comment that something feels off around here.
Tina, when she woke up, kind of let Lima's tiny hut finish off and just kind of hung her legs over the side of the barge. Has been kind of staying there this entire time. Hood drawn, and when Harnok comes by and says that, she's kind of her head kind of half turns, only so like part of her face is kind of is seen, and she just kind of gives a small nod before. And what feels off?
Just the nature around here. Something isn't right. The entire time he's saying this, he's staring pretty much straight ahead. He's not actually looking at you.
Sounds about right. I'll keep my eye open. If you need me to, I can attempt to detect anything if there's entropatic forces at work.
I'd like to send Orsine out to fly ahead and scout.
Okay.
along our route.
You're sending your Raven out.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead and roll your perception.
We check her perception.
So as that happens, and as Tina responds, Harnock's gonna stay quiet and kind of start to back away. He's gonna raise his hand like he's gonna put a hand on her shoulder, and then kind of let it drop and walk off.
Aw, that's cute. I literally, unfortunately, all I can think of is literally Kratos trying to reach out to frickin' Atreus after the stag kill just stopped because of your comment on how you look at us all as children.
Yeah.
17.
What's your perception? 17? Okay. And how far ahead from you can your familiar go? Is it just a mile, right?
The familiar can travel as far as it wants. In order for me to be able to warg into it, which is what I'm going for, I'm going to go for 100 feet.
Okay.
Not that far.
So I'll say while you're wogging, you don't really see much aside from the waves are getting more choppy. Even though Harnock depicted the weather pattern should be decent, the waves ahead look a little more choppy from what you can see. If your Raven continues to fly forward without you wogging into her, she'll notice that it becomes more than just choppy and that the sky is it's dark up that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll instruct her to fly just 10 minutes ahead and then double back.
Yeah. So that's what you'll...
She's back within 100. Yeah, once she's back within 100 feet, I'll give that information.
Yep. That's what you'll get. You'll notice that even though the Harnock predicted the weather should be good, it appears to be a storm that you're heading straight into.
And I will pass that on to the rest to everyone else. Harnock, you're sure the weather is supposed to be clear? Because we're sailing straight into a storm.
Harnock's head will kind of whip into the sky again. Something's not right here.
I don't know about you guys. We've been pretty good sailing so far. Sailing being a very strong term for what we've been doing. I don't know how to do this in a storm.
I have never had to sail a boat. I've only been on them.
So good.
I was going to say, in the book that you picked up in Tola Mill, being a captain for dummies, it says that the most important thing sailing into a storm is to tie your gear down to make sure nothing gets knocked offside. And that's pretty much as far as you got into your book before you decided campfire stories were annoying and you were ready to go to sleep.
Half training accomplished.
And this is why Brill's not a wizard.
Accurate. Brill don't got time for studying books for years. Give that power to me now.
No, just sell your soul instead.
Yeah.
But what if you do both?
Then you've just made mistakes.
But yeah, Brill will be like, we can make sure we tie everything down and have things secure. In theory, I think the boat should keep us going. It's mostly going to be a matter of keeping our balance and not losing things.
Stork just looks down at himself in heavy plate mail made of rock. I cannot be knocked overboard. I cannot be knocked overboard. I do not swim. I sink.
Well, we'll hope you don't have to learn fast today. That's inspiring, right?
No, you're not Bard. I don't get any inspiration from that.
And the rest of us can try to be rocks like you, I guess. But Brill will go around and like start using whatever rope we have to try and secure the barrels of food and water first, because that's going to be most important than anything else that's loose. I don't think there's that much really, but
No, you shouldn't have a bunch of loose gear. Probably just your bed rolls and things that you had laid out. But
Yeah,
really,
I think all our barrel stuff will probably tied down at the docks when we're loading them.
and I think your empty spare barrel is probably big enough to cram your packs into if you were concerned about things getting tossed overboard.
yeah.
Yeah, I think once all of our stuff's tied down or stuffed away, Stork just lies down flat on the deck of the boat. Just looks up at everyone. How do you sleep like this?
I want a sleight of hand from whoever's tying the knots on your gear to see how well they're tied.
Okay. Brill can knock that out.
I'll give you a help action.
Always appreciated. For a 19.
Okay, and Stork, give me a athletics to see how tight you got the rope before Brill tied the knot. Because I assume it's the two of you working on it. Because
Yeah.
Valentine and Harnock were
It
checking.
sounds like, yeah. 17.
Okay. All right. So it feels like you got a pretty sure knot and they're together pretty tightly. As far as you can tell, it feels like that much. So you can both be confident in your skill that you got your gear secured.
Brilliant.
And then Brill will hunker
If I
down
go overboard,
if you go overboard.
Stork looks over at Brill. Brill, if I go overboard, that's bow right there. Right there, Brill. One shot.
Okay,
I
I
don't
definitely
want to
thought you were
drown.
gonna tell me. I definitely thought you were gonna tell me to save you, and I was gonna tell you that I didn't think I could lift you, but that is much more doable. I will do everything I can to make that not be the only option.
Good. Good. That's a good friend
Guide
to make.
me.
So I just want to say to the group how proud I am of all of you that we're doing the right thing, because I've been in a situation where we had the perfect storm and we decided to try sailing to the nearest island instead of tying everything down, raising the sails, and just prepping. And that's how we lost half of our party and our starting boat.
Well, so
Oh, you're talking about in a game.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
in a-
not saying for in real
Yeah,
life.
he just
It's-
throwing that out there. He lost half his friends in this trip.
I'm sorry. I rode on a few boats. I
Too
haven't
late.
rode on that many boats. We did have a
To be
gnarly.
clear, Stork's fear of drowning is very directly inspired by my own.
Understandable.
Fair enough.
apologies in advance.
Oh no.
Apologies in advance.
No, it's all good.
So-
This is not a line for me at all.
Tina
You-
also will, when everyone's all good and set. I'm sorry, I forgot to add this. Will draw a circle for Lehman's tiny hut and get all the way to the end of the ritual cast on the off chance that we need it. And basically just kind of sits there and holds it.
Okay. So you get hunkered down. Some of you lay flat. Others of you prepare protective magic. And you kind of let the boat continue to sail on. The water gets more choppy, as the Raven had seen ahead, and Sir Storic had seen as well. And then it becomes almost unbearable, where the waves are crashing hard against the sides and up and over. And sometimes they come up so high you think they're going to swallow your whole boat. And your boat rocks back and forth, and it is extremely, extremely perilous. In the distance ahead, it's hard to see anything because the sky is so dark, and you feel the boat crash into something. You're not exactly sure what it's crashed into, but it starts to hit things more frequently when one of you realizes that the boat is hitting rocks. And your boat, being the magical sort, when it takes a certain amount of damage, it kind of dematerializes itself so that it stays in existence. So what ends up happening as you're being knocked around and your boat is taking a lot of damage from the rocks, it kind of goes back to its feather. All of your barrels are tied together so they float, but the rest of you are left sort of dealing with getting dropped into the water by these rocks in the middle of this storm.
Brill grabs the feather, first point in order. As soon as she gets her senses, she searches for it and finds it. I don't assume it's before we hit water or anything.
Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
No, that was first point of order. Second point of order was going to be to try to locate Storic.
So here's my quick question. And this one is this one's first come, first serve. Who is the closest person to Tina? Whether that's decided by Huli or by anyone who's like, no, I'm by you.
I'm gonna say it's probably Harnock.
Harnock?
is laying down at the back of the boat.
All right,
Yep.
Harnock, unless you literally swap my hand away, as we're falling in, I grab hold of you and Misty step onto the barrels.
So as you grab Harnock and Misty Step, you're gonna realize you feel a lot of scaliness as Harnock wild shaped into a crocodile.
Beautiful.
We got Captain Hook and Croc over here floating on some barrels.
As soon as Tina realizes it's a croc, she goes, just kind of throws him into the water. Like,
Yeah, Harnock dives in and starts looking to see if anybody's under the water.
Yep. Brill, you're looking for Storic. Storic, you're sinking like a rock. You're in heavy armor. I know you don't want to drown, so I'm sure you're trying to swim up when you realize your barrels are floating. You can make athletics if you want to. And Brill, you were looking for Storic, so you can do either perception or if you're better at investigation, since you're focusing, I'll let you do that.
I will say Harnock is also looking for Storic to try and grab him.
Definitely better at investigation.
You can roll 2, Harnock.
What am I rolling?
Investigation or perception, whichever one you prefer.
15 for Brill.
Okay.
So
Harnock,
good news, guy.
I'm rolling now. Sorry, I had to find my perception real quick.
You're good.
18.
Okay.
So good news,
So-
gang. I got a chaos coin, but I'm sinking.
You got a
I'm
nat one on
sinking.
your athletics?
Yeah. Nat one for a 6.
So, Brill, you're able to see where Storic is, but you realize as he's kind of fighting the current, he's being pulled under faster than you can get to him. and out of the corner of your eye, you see a crocodile swim towards you. And first it inflicts like a moment of panic, like, oh shit, sea monsters and a storm. And then when you look at it again, you see the eyes look like Harnock's eyes, and you can kind of make out his mask in the detail in the pattern of the scales on the croc as it swims right for Storic. Harnock, you're able to see Storic. Crocodiles are fairly strong. I'm assuming you're going to swim underneath of him and pull him back up.
Yeah, I'm either gonna swing underneath of him and pull him back up. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna try and like gently grab him with my mouth to pull him up.
Okay.
How do you gently grab a stone?
When underneath.
Yeah.
the stone,
Firmly
it's
grasp it.
Snork, do you fight the crocodile when it tries to help you, or how does it go? How does it?
I think I'm going to decide that with a couple of dice rolls for Storic. I'm going to make a wisdom save just to see if he's panicking from drowning, if that's all right, and then an insight to see if he realizes this is Harnock.
Okay.
So he's not panicking.
Okay.
He
I
knew
don't
he
know if
might
an
drown
11's enough
today.
to realize this is Harnock.
11's above average, and like I said, you could see if you're not panicking, then I would say you're calm enough to be able to focus, right, and look at his face as it's towards you. And Harnock wears a mask, but you're always able to see his eyes. That's the only identifying mark you've ever had of Harnock, and you recognize his eyes because they're different than most folks. And you notice when you look at the eyes and you start to register them, you see that the pattern of the scales on the crocodile's head are in the similar shape of Harnock's Plague Doctor mask.
Then yeah, I think Storic just goes limp and lets the crocodile scoop him up.
Okay. All right. Brill, so you see the crocodile get Storic. What do? You move towards your barrels?
Bro will slowly make her way over there, but essentially be waiting to make sure that Storic Harnock make it over first. Brill can swim, Storic can't. Priorities.
Sure. So, I would say you're probably about 30-ish foot from the barrels. With you're probably more dexterous than you are strengthiest. So
Not much, but yeah.
I would say a 14 acrobatics will get you safely to the barrels.
Okay. Nope, we got a 12. Brill is struggling.
Yeah, but you did recap, so you do have a chaos coin.
Oh, I did. I was surely sitting here like, who did recap today?
You did.
You did.
That's a 23 with the
All right,
chaos
so that's better. Yeah, you're able to get there and at least get a hold of the ropes. We'll figure out here in a minute if you're pulling yourself up or if Tina's helping, how that's going to go. Harnock, since you have Sir Storic now on you, and he is, as you notice, very, very heavy. Give me your crocodile should have its own stats, if I'm not mistaken. His strength is probably better than yours if you want to make strength or athletics. I'm not sure athletics is on his sheet. Give me a strength check to see.
Strength check. That is a 21.
Okay, yep. So that's enough to get you to the edge of the barrels, at least where you can surface and Stork can grab a hold of the rope, and we'll figure out getting out next.
So once Stork gets off, can I see any type of land, close enough, either landmass or like a body of rocks that's not getting just devastated by water near us?
Yes, one moment, and I will show you on a map whereabouts you are.
Meanwhile, this entire time, Tina's just watching in the water as all of her, her compatriots go under, and it's just like,
Let me put this back on the screen so everybody can see. And I will show you where you are. If you're not in Owlbear, you should be. Okay. You are near here. So the closest thing you see is this landmass. But if you look farther ahead, you see another little island and then the mainland in this way. But you're out here-ish. Your boat crashed against this rock, these rocks coming in, and was getting pulled this way by the waves. And about right here is where you're at after your boat disappeared.
Okay, so you said we're about right here?
Yep.
Alright. So does it look like the Eye of the Sea, does it look like that's still getting hit pretty hard? Or is it a big enough landmass that the waves aren't messing with it?
It looks like there's a storm centralized over the top of this area and over the Eye of the Sea, and the residual is what you're hitting on the edges. So it looks like it's storming much worse on the interior.
So Harnack's going to go kind of back under the water, and he's going to try and push the barrels kind of towards, probably towards this manor over here.
Okay. But you want to attach, you want to use the barrels and like push the barrels along?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You could do that. I would think, give me a, hold that thought. First, Will, are you staying in the water or are you attempting to get up on this floating raft of barrels?
She would probably wait and like help Crocodile lift Storic up and then get up there, yeah.
Okay. So we'll get Storic up first since he can't swim. Storic, give me a normally you wouldn't be at disadvantage, but you're in heavy armor, you're soaking wet, and the water's not your BFF. So give me a athletics 11 at disadvantage.
We just can't roll lower than a 6 game. I get another chaos going.
Woohoo! You want to use it?
Again. Yeah, sure. I'll use the first. Okay, there we go. We got exactly an 11.
All right. So with the help of Brill, you're able to get enough leverage off the back of Harnock and Brill's assistance. You're able to get up on top of your barrels. You've got a little barrel raft going. They're all tied together pretty well. About 10 of them in a little square there. So you've got enough room to get up there. So you do. Brill, you can make acrobatics 11. You don't have to roll at disadvantage. You're not in heavy armor.
Well, that's a 7, so Brill's again struggling.
Yep, you are struggling again this round. All right, so you're like tired from helping Storic. You know, you had to get the feather and all of that, so you're a little tired. Harnock, go ahead.
Brill get up?
You can help Brill on the next round. I'll give you the opportunity.
Gotcha.
Harnock, go ahead and give me an intelligence check to see if in crocodile form you're smart enough to remember or to think about that you want to push these barrels along.
That's a 7. Crocodile's not very smart.
Nope.
Wait, you use your own intelligence stats even in wild shape form, don't you? It's just
Yeah, you can use
change.
you can use your own base intelligence if you want.
Oh.
Yeah. So only your physical stats change when you wild shape, not your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma.
So that would be a 13 then.
Okay. 13 will be enough to do it. You just need above 10 because that's average. So you are able to register that you want to push it around. You're able to think that to yourself. So you get yourself in position behind the barrels and you get your nose up against it and you kind of start to guide it along. Grill still hanging slack on the side there. Grill, you are going to go ahead and try to get up this time.
Okay.
But I want, Tina, you've been on top of it and the waves are still pitching and things. I want you to make me an acrobatics to see how well you stay atop it.
We got it that time.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you're not here. Acrobatics.
17.
Okay, yep, you get up there.
And as she does, she's like breathing heavy and she reaches over to Stork and she says, "Sorry, I couldn't keep my promise."
I didn't drown, so it might not have been a promise I needed to ask you to make.
Okay, so Tina, you're 15, you'll stay afloat. And Harnock, you're able to start kind of guiding folks along. And you said you wanted to head towards this little island here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do that. And it's going to take you a while, but the water starts to chill out the closer you get to the island. When it starts to lighten up here on the map, how the water starts to lighten, it starts to chill out. Like the storm recedes the farther you get away from the eye.
I think.
And I'll say you make it. You've had good enough rolls so far along to get yourselves there. And like I said, the water's chilling out, so it's not pitching as much. Everybody's up on the raft except for Harnock. And you push until you get to, the barrels kind of start out in the sand where your feet can touch.
And since it seems like Stork and Brill are kind of worn out, he's going to push it to the point where the barrels kind of sit in the sand, where they're not moving too much, and then he's going to kind of go up on the shore and still in Crocodile and look around for any potential like threats or anything.
You don't see anything on the beach. It's just it's late into the night now, probably 2 or 3 in the morning. It's dark, and you don't see anything in the sandy part of the beach. You'll come out probably right around here. You just see sand and then like a rock wall in the distance and a manor also in the distance.
So with all of us with everyone secured out of the water, he's gonna cancel the wild shape and turn back into normal little Harnock.
Well, that was a adventure. Thank you for the assistance, Harlock. I wouldn't have made it without you.
He'll turn and give Stork a nod.
So it's late. You're on the beach. You're wet, but you do have all your supplies. And what do you want to do there? What do you want to do from there?
I guess we could sleep here on the beach tonight and see what it's like in the morning. You said it's dark, like it's night now?
Yeah, it's probably like 2, 3 in the morning.
Okay.
You had warm and all of that stuff, so.
I'm going to gesture up to the manor. It may also be wise to go meet our host, if we're trespassing on their lands. I'm sure they wouldn't be glad to see us in the morning without knowing we're here.
That's true, but do you think they're going to be happier to see us at 3 in the morning without knowing we're here?
I think if we present ourselves immediately, any landed gentry of any sort would be happier that we came right away rather than waiting on their land.
I think we'll see how this one goes. I think that's a toss-up.
Harmark, what say you?
I think we should rest before we go. We don't know what's up there. It could be our host, or it could be someone not too excited to have us here.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Perhaps we make sure we set a watch, though, in case anyone comes. That way we can greet them and explain. We just didn't want to disturb them in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a good idea.
Based on our heading, what country do you think we're in? Do you think we've reached the Empire?
I think we've definitely reached the Empire. Guesstimate is, are we somewhere near where Lysak would be?
Yes, you are. You are right in Bite Bay, right there outside of Lysak.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're probably right near where we were gonna come ashore and double check supplies and things and see if we wanted to go in river. Here, this, I think, and she'll kind of look through the darkness that she can see a little bit through, but probably not all the way to shore, but she's gonna be like, I think there's something on shore. That's why I kind of wanted to wait till morning. We might just be in Lysak now, which would indeed be inside the Empire.
Do you think it would be wise? I have my old banner in the office. I could fly it so that they know so that they believe it's a group of inquisitors who camped on their land. They may leave us be.
And what if current Inquisitors come up and realize that we haven't been Inquisitors for quite some time?
I don't know.
I'll leave it up to you. I don't know if it'll hurt or help. I think it could go either way. And I think that even if it starts to go bad, I might be able to talk our way out of it with a little leniency that the banner affords.
If need be, I can speak on it. Just I didn't have much ties to even the old Inquisition. Just preferred to stay under their eyes. But if you tell me what I need to know, I can speak my mind on it. She'll kind of reach up and tap her head and say, in my sleep, when we were asleep back in the toll, I made sure to prepare my persuasive means to be better than normal.
Tina, out of curiosity, are you still doing this ritual while talking to us, just for my awareness?
Yeah, she knows the ritual. Being able to ritually cast it involves really knowing the spell, so she's practically doing it as she's like drawing in the sand with her foot and like pulling out.
Tina, we may not want to use magic until we know where we are. If we're in the Empire,
Yes. Not a good move.
Burak is supposedly pretty strict, and if that's a manor up there and a noble, they may not be too jazzed about waking up and there being a magical anything on their beach.
Yes.
Tina will kind of stop and look around on the beach. How big is the cliff that the manor sits on?
I would say at its highest, probably about 2 to 3 stories.
So
That's
about
what-
like
Yeah, it's only 20, 30 at its highest.
30, 40 feet, yeah.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, at its highest point.
Yes, it's not quite worth the risk for just a bit of comfort, I don't think, Tina.
fair enough. I can't make it jagged like a rock, so we can't even hide into the cliffs. And she will, like, kind of stop and start kicking the sand over her over her foot-drawn circle, and just start undoing her work slightly.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'll leave. If you want to put your banner up, that's up to you, Stork. I haven't directly associated with the Inquisition even before I was lost. So it's up to you if that's the way we go. I'm sure Valor, I will be able to figure something out.
I think perhaps we save that for a time when we know it would be more useful. You're right. There's risks involved with it that we don't need to take.
But if we are in the Empire, we might be able to get some more information. I know you were kind of interested in what's been going on with the Inquisition. We might be able to find something, although probably not here.
No.
But
Yeah, let's save that trick for when we need it.
okay. If you guys want, I can take first watch and wake someone up in a couple hours. Just let me know who.
I can see clearly in this darkness.
Go for me.
So if you don't watch the first one, I can take it.
I see pretty good in the darkness. I can handle the first. If you want the second, it'll probably still be dark.
That works.
Storik's just gonna go blend into the cliff wall to sleep.
just literally like get completely rigid and just lean and just fall backwards.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So some of you are going to take, one of you's taking first watch, the rest of you are going to rest. It's only a few hours till sun up, since it's about 3-ish by the time you make up your mind and get the air back into your lungs after getting knocked around in the ocean. If you wanted to, you could use your canvas that you got and pull it out over the edge of your barrels to make a little sleeping tent. If you didn't want to go that far, you could leave your shit tied together there, stuck in the sand, so it's not going anywhere. It seems to be a fairly uneventful night. You get through first watch and you swap out and you go into second watch. Nothing seems to happen. As the sun comes up, you don't see any movement or anything up near the manor. And as the sun kind of meets, the edge of the horizon with its very bottom, like it's mostly full, you notice, if you're paying attention to the manor, that from a distance, it doesn't look as if it's currently being occupied, because you don't see any movement or hear anything from up there. You just kind of hear the gentle lull of the waves in the morning and the birds and whatever. That's really it.
But I assume at that point we can also look across and see that there is some kind of town or something across the bay here.
Yeah, you can see from the island, you can see the mainland and some ships docked over there and things of the sort. Yes. you can definitely see that in the daylight from the island.
What do you guys want to do? Should we go check and try and thank our hosts above, or just set up the boat and go across the water?
The manor doesn't seem like there's anyone within. So perhaps we just count it as our luck we landed on an uninhabited island and sail to the mainland.
Sounds fair enough. She'll pull out the feather and put it down. We gotta load these back up again.
Alright.
If you want to play on the safe side, you could leave a note in a small pouch with a few coins for them to find. On the off chance they did, and they come and check looking for us when they awake.
I'm assuming that by the time we're all waking up, it's like 11 a.m., almost midday. If we just started sleeping at 3.
Yeah.
I
all of that, so you sleep a little later. Absolutely.
I would kind of assume that if anyone was there or cared we were here, they would have done something by now. It's not like we were like hiding.
Or showing ourselves to be a threat of any sort.
Right.
But we could certainly leave a couple silver.
She kind of glances over and she kind of just shrugs and says, I don't actually truly have the intention of doing so, but I just meant it since you were questioning whether or not to go thank them. I just wanted to offer a middle ground.
Yes. I think perhaps we could sail to the mainland and ask about the matter in town. If it turns out it is inhabited, then we could come back and explain.
That sounds fair. No harm, no foul.
Exactly.
All right. So you want to get on your ship and go over to the mainland then?
Yeah, we'll load the barrels back on and take a 20-minute ride up to the pier. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you'll do, and we'll leave it there. And you'll know that you're in Lysek when you get there. There's like the flag of the Free City flying over it, and that's where we'll leave it. We will run a raid out over to Queen's Court Games because they are playing Pathfinder. I'm actually in that show over there while I'm here too. I'm in multiple places at once, so we'll run a raid out over to there. I want to say thank you to Girls Run These Worlds for their raid into us in the middle of our show, and we'll see everybody back next week.
Woo! Come back